I gotcha.
I hope it's up.
Just want to make sure.
Come on. That one. Yes, but that slide right there specifically. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
That's where you just want
Yep,
to
that's
be?
where we'll start. Yep.
Okay. I think they're second too.
It's okay to talk for 2 more minutes. We don't want to be tardy or start early, but we're going to. We got a lot of great kids and parents. Welcome to our board meeting tonight. The agendas are posted around the room, as you can see. We got some excitement in the air, but we need to do a little business. We need to excuse a couple of board members. Janice Christensen and Bruce Jardine are not with us tonight. I think Bruce may slide in, but we excuse them and we will miss them during our meeting. Having said that, we've got a couple of music presentations from Project Lead the Way, and it's going to be, the first one's going to be a song by Maya and Emily, and I would like Leader in me, I'm sorry. Oh, there you are. You're in the audience. Please come forward and bring your principal. Do we have a handheld mic?
They have
Perfect. Would you do me a favor and give that to the principal? And would you tell them the story, please? Yes. Oh!
They were going to introduce it and tell the whole reason why and how it all turned out. Is that okay?
All you gotta do is just tell them.
I'm Maya. And I'm Emily, and we're a Leader in Me school, and it's about the 7 habits. The song we're singing, it's called the 7 Habits. That was made a few years ago. From a girl wrote it, who was in Drakes Creek Middle School, and we're gonna sing it for you. Be proactive, you're in charge. Begin with the end and my success will be ours. But first things first, work and play. You should think win-win every single day. Be proactive, you're in charge. Begin with the end and my success will be ours. But first things first, work and play. You should think win-win every single day. Respect on campus in a heart just keeps me knowing that you can have it all. Responsible for yourself, loving things well keeps me knowing that you can have it all. With the 7 habits, you will be a leader for the rest of your life. Be first to understand and to be understood. Together is better, as you should. Sharpen the saw, balance feels best. These habits will not us from making life a mess. Respect us, love us, sympathy, trust keeps me knowing that you can have it all. Responsible for yourself, knowing things well keeps me knowing that you can have it all. With the 7 habits, you will be a leader for the rest of your life. Yes, you can have it all. With the 7 habits, you will be a leader for the rest of your life. Be first to understand and to be understood. Together is better, synergize you should. Sharpen the saw, balance feels best. These habits will suffer from making life a mess. Yes, you can have it all. Yes, you can have it all. It all, it all, it all. Yes, you can have it all. With the 7 habits,
you, girls. That's awesome. And that was so much fun. We get to hear another project lead the way. Leader in me, I said.
So I guess they want us to move them over there.
Go ahead and move.
All right, boys and girls. Third time's a charm, right? From there to there to there.
Yeah. I
Let's go right
guess
back here. We're gonna go back to the-
So while they're moving them, after they are done singing their song, we're going to have a Pledge of Allegiance done by Ellie Summers, right?
Yep, Ellie.
That's correct. Thank you.
All right, we are Roosevelt Elementary. Roosevelt? We're not.
I understand.
We're not. I taught there my whole time. Washington Terrace Elementary. I don't even know where that came from. Okay, we're the Great Bulldogs, aren't we? Okay, we know who we are. This is our fantastic choir, and we're also Leader in Me School. This is our very first year being a Leader in Me School, and so I asked these ladies that are on my staff if they would get to a choir together, and it's all thanks to these ladies. Mrs. DeBoer, will you stand up? She wrote the lyrics to the song for Leader in Me. Let's give Mrs. DeBoer a hand. We have Mrs. Van Patten on the piano. She's an amazing musician, and we're so excited to have her at our school, and she's going to accompany us tonight. And this is Mrs. Pulsifer, and she is crowd control. So she just keeps them all in line, right? Let's give her a hand, too. All right, Washington Terrace, are you ready?
I'm so proud to, can't you see? By the way Right. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before maybe everybody leaves, can I just say something about the Leader in Me program? This is an extraordinary thing that right now is in, I believe, 7 of our schools. We've got about 10 additional schools that we'll be looking at for next year, and some even after that. Last year, our foundation at the Christmas Tree Jubilee raised $125,000 from our community to help support this program. Last year also, the legislature made a $400,000 appropriation for Weaver School District alone. It's enough money that could allow for every one of our schools to have the Leader in Me in their school. Now, we're not going to mandate it. We're not going to make it a top-down. We only want schools and communities to come on if they want the program. It's based around Stephen R. Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it's an extraordinary thing for me to go into kindergarten and first grade as well as 6th grade classes and see the impact that this is having on our young people. And we're so proud of you. We want you to know how proud we are of you for the things that you're doing. One other thing, Board, and those who are in the audience tonight, we have reinforced for us, I think, just in a few minutes, the importance of the arts in our schools. That is so vital that children are having experiences with the arts. You can just watch their faces and see what it does for them. Thank you for being with us tonight. We're so proud of you. Thanks, parents and grandparents for coming and joining us tonight.
Let's give them another round of applause. You guys are awesome. We're going to give you a minute to go ahead and just step out if you'd like to before we move on. So thank you again, parents. move on with our item, and the next item will be, I'm going to turn the time over to Superintendent Stevens, if I could. Dr. Stevens, please.
President Ritchie and board, we are honored tonight to have the president of Weber State University with us, Brad Mortensen. I've had the privilege for about a 6-year period to serve on the Board of Trustees at Weber State. I came off, I think it was last May or June. I came off just after we were able to, as a board, recommend to the Board of Regents the hiring of Brad Mortensen as the next president of Weber State. We made the right hire, and I'm talking, when I say we, our community. Brad is just an extraordinary educator, leader. He's everywhere, and he has initiated just a tremendous thing that he refers to as louder and prouder. And President, I don't care where you go, there's going to be no introduction of louder and prouder than what you just had, preface your remarks. So everybody, please join me in welcoming my good friend, President Brad Mortensen, to our
Clip it on the bottom.
Very bottom.
There. Okay. Superintendent Stevens, thank you so very much for that kind introduction, for your friendship, for your support. It's my privilege to be here with you this evening and to give you a chance to view some of the product of your good work in just a minute. So as the superintendent alluded to, one of the things I was charged with by the Board of Regents and our Board of Trustees is to make sure that nobody ever refers to Weber State as the best kept secret. People do that often and they intend it to be a compliment, but we don't want to be a secret. We just want to be known as the best. And so with the help of Stephen Richardson, our Director of Strategic Initiatives, and our Presidential Leadership Fellows, we are trying to get out and meet with city councils, county commissions, met with the North Ogden Kiwanis Club last night, our school board partners, and just to share with you some of the great things that are happening at Weber State. And then I have just 2 requests for you at the end. But a couple of facts to start with. Here, if I get my notes up. Lots of folks are surprised to know we have 29,644 students enrolled at Weber State University. Currently, about 18,300 of those are degree-seeking students, and the other 11,000 are concurrent enrollment students. Of those 29,000 students, we had 474 from Weber School District join us as first-time freshmen this past year, which is a great input into our school and our graduating class there. One of those freshmen happens to live with me, my daughter, graduate from Weber High. And we also providing, I should say this year, concurrent enrollment to 2,868 students in the Weber School District. In rough numbers, that's saving them about $3.5 million in tuition that they would have to pay to earn those same credit hours. And we think that's just a great value to help students make the most of their high school education and get a leg up on their college studies and give them the confidence and ability to transition easier to the university. We're proud to have 30,991 alumni who are part of your tax base in the Weber School District, living in the Weber School District, and many of you are alumni of Weber State as well. And we're proud of the work that you do and you've done and you continue to do to represent the university, and just invite you, this Louder and Prouder tour is not just the thing I'm doing. We want all of our alumni, all of our students, everybody to participate with that. At this point, let me introduce to you 3 of our Presidential Leadership Fellows who are graduates of Weber School District. The Presidential Leadership Fellows are not only outstanding in their academic work, but they were recommended by faculty and staff at Weber State for the outstanding engagement in extracurricular work that they're doing across campus. So first of all, we'll hear from Cassidy Pfister, who's a sophomore majoring in organizational communications and is a Roy High graduate. correct? Yeah. And then Devin Jennings, who's a senior public relations and advertising major, Weber High graduate, and then Jamie Owen, who's actually a recent graduate of Weber State with her degree in political science, will share a little bit as well. So Cassidy, I'll turn the time over to you.
Thank you for letting me be here. It's a great opportunity to come. So I owe so much of my upbringing to being in Weber School District. Like you said, I went to Roy High School, I graduated from there. I made so many wonderful connections by being a student there. Some of my favorite people are the teachers that I had and the friends that I made going there. Being a student there, I was able to participate in concurrent enrollment classes like President Mortensen talked about, which allowed me to be able to get my associate's degree a lot sooner than I would have otherwise. I was able to also participate in a lot of extracurricular activities like the yearbook. I was editor-in-chief of the school newspaper, and other wonderful opportunities like that, which have also been able to carry over into Weber State. I have been able to be a part of so many little organizations and groups. I've been able to be a part of the Welcome Committee at our institute. I have been able to be so involved in my my own group on campus as being a part of the communications organization, and it has allowed me to be able to be so close to the professors that I have. I've learned so much by being in such small classrooms, which have allowed me to be able to have one-on-one time with my professors, have made progressing in school so much easier, which is wonderful. The programs at Weber State are unparalleled. I have had such a great experience there, and I'm so glad that that's the university that I chose to go to.
Thank you. You have to forgive my helmet hair because I'm coming from Snow Basin. But like President Mortensen said, I went to Weber High School and I was a proud warrior there. I really enjoyed my high school years where I participated in athletics. After high school, I served a 2-year mission in Nicaragua. And when I came home, Weber State was the obvious choice for me because as a born and raised Utah boy, I'm able to, go skiing and then go to class. After class, sometimes I'll go out to the marsh and go duck hunting. So that's one of my favorite things about Weber State. And also, like you said, I'm a senior this year and I'll be graduating in public relations and advertising, which Weber State has an incredible PR and advertising program. As I've been meeting with industry professionals in the area, they've all been telling me that Weber State graduates are their preferred hire. I'm also proud to say that due to things like concurrent enrollment, low tuition, great scholarships, I'll be able to graduate this semester debt-free, which has been my goal from the beginning. And so I'm very proud of Weber State, and I'll be a proud Wildcat for the rest of my life.
Jamie. I graduated in December with a Bachelor of Science in Political Science, and I went to Weber High School. And my Weber story actually starts at Weber High. My junior year of high school, I went in for your senior year planning, and when my counselor asked me what I was interested in, I said I love my AP government class. And so he said, oh, you should go to Girls State. And I was like, what's that? And so I went to Girls State. For those of you who don't know, it was a week-long government camp held at Weber, and you just learn about local government, county government, state government, and it was amazing. Through Girls State, I earned a full tuition scholarship to Weber State, and I knew from then on that it was going to be my school. So I started at Weber, and in my second semester, I took an intro-level political theory class. And halfway through the semester, I found out that my professor had recommended me to do an internship wherever I could get one. And so through the Walker Institute of Politics and Public Policy, I got a Congressman Bishop out in Washington, D.C., and was able to spend a semester there in the fall of 17. And it was easily the best semester of my life, and I'm so grateful that Weber gave me those experiences. And then in my last semester, I was able to conduct original research on women in state legislatures with one of my professors, which I never would have been able to do at another university. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunities Weber State has given me.
Thanks, Cassidy, Devin, and Jamie. Just want to share a few other facts of ways that Weber State is playing a role in the Weber School District. We have students who serve as judges in the district STEM fair. They make meal kits and pantry packs for Lakeview Elementary's food pantry. We're helping with special education math. One student who was part of that project said it was super humbling to see how much we as people take advantage of our ability to do simple tasks like count money. It was definitely a good, humbling experience. And we have some of our students who are reading books to preschoolers and co-teaching a middle school class in math, art, and social studies. And those are all programs through our Center for Community Engaged Learning, where we really try to provide students, in addition to their learning in the classroom, opportunities to volunteer and give back to the community as part of their education. The Gear Up program is having a big impact in the Weber School District. That's gaining early awareness and readiness for undergraduate programs, and we have 353 students involved in our Gear Up program here in the district, and we've provided more than 1,070 hours of in-school services, one-on-one advising and mentoring, support, tutoring for those students. And just this past Monday, we had 284 students from the district attend our Latinos in Action program on campus, where the Ostad auditorium was all filled with students and trying to introduce them and help orient them to the university. I just might add one thing in closing before I ask you two questions, and that is kind of along the lines of what Devin alluded to. We were recently recognized at Weber State by 24/7 Wall Street. They went through and selected the higher education institution in each state that provides the most value with the best outcomes, and Weber State was designated that school for the state of Utah. We do try to keep things very affordable, want our students to graduate with as little debt as possible, provide a lot of scholarships and low tuition to try to help them do that, but then also make sure that they get a quality education with the experiences that will help them be successful. Now for my two questions. One, help us be louder and prouder. If there's any group you think I might talk to or messages we might share or through your own stories or experiences, please invite you to join with us in that effort. And two, and Superintendent Stevens already does this, but please let us know how we can help you with the work that you're doing here in the district. I ask you to reach out to us, and we want to be involved. We want your district to be successful because that's our pipeline of students, and we want to help from the beginning to have a great partnership, and we've got some things underway, hopefully, to even try to strengthen those relationships. So happy to respond to any questions, but thank you for your time and all of the great work you do for education of our students here in Weber County. Thank you.
We'd like to get a picture with you so we can go live and talk. How's that? Great. Let's do the whole board and these kids. Come on. All right, come on. We're going to put this picture everywhere. Be louder and prouder. We got a new video going out today. Watch it. We're on it. All right.
How many Weber State on the board? Who's Weber State on the board?
What's
Yeah.
Weber State.
Great.
Just want to make sure you remember.
Those kids
Can you get us all in? We got to probably squeeze, don't we? Get it?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we left a little propaganda for you too for your evening minutes. Enjoy that.
Thank you, President. Board, our first item on the agenda would be the consent calendar. I'd entertain a motion to accept the consent calendar. So moved by Doug. Second by Dean. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. The next item will be presentation of proposed revision of policy 4200, school fee and fee waiver policy, and 4210 on fee schedule. Art Hanson and your entourage, please.
President Ritchie, Board, Superintendent Stevens, it's great to be here tonight. My remarks this evening are preliminary to our second public meeting, which is required by law on school fees. And we have a sign-up sheet in the back. I haven't seen any names yet, if I may. May I ask the public if there's anyone here tonight that is here, who is here to address the board on this matter on school fees? All right, we're going to present this evening. Last month we presented on, our legal counsel Heidi Alder presented on the language that's required in a revision of policy 4200 on school fees and fee waivers. And tonight, Gina Butters and Clyde Moore, who've been working really hard with their office assistant, Carrie Meyerhofer, on revising policy 4210, which is the fee schedule and the spend plan. And they're going to present tonight how they've come up with that. You have a copy of that in your materials there. As you can see, it's quite extensive. So tonight we're going to present what that will look like. And then next month at our April board meeting, we would like to propose revisions on those two policies on a first reading. So, Gina?
We're going to change our positioning and come over here. It seems to be the fad, the trend tonight. So, great board, and Dr. Stevens, we're excited to stand before you and kind of share with you some of the work that we've been involved in. It's been a great collaborative process. Opened up a lot of observations and growth and learning. Even as a 27-year vet, I'm learning through this process. And so what we wanted to do, and you can see on the screens here, we've already last month covered the first 4 steps of our process, what we've done to get to this point. And so we won't belabor those steps with you, but what we really want to talk about are steps 5 through 7. And when we met last time, we put up a preliminary template for you to kind of see what we had gathered to that point in terms of feedback from our stakeholders, teachers, administrators, coaches, advisors, community council members. And we realized that we still have a lot of work to do because it wasn't completely reflective of the fees that are making our programs go. And so we solicited additional feedback after our last board meeting, and we just had a treasure trove of information come to us. Our folks did a really nice job of talking to a lot of different people. There were a lot of conversations around streamlining fees by program. So like programs got together, for example, our marching band advisors got together and they did a really nice job of streamlining some of their fees. And then we've created now 4 different fee schedules for you with all of the information. And we thought that that would be the best way to present policy 4210, because we felt like we wanted to break down the school fees that are curricular in nature and juxtapose those with a different schedule for the extracurricular fees. So it's a little different, a little easier to read. So I'm going to have Clyde start. That's the point we're at. And that lovely lady over there on the computer, we would be remiss if we did not give her an additional shout out. Carrie has spent hours and hours and hours on these 4 fee schedules, and I just would let you know that and just know how valuable and how much we value her. But I'll let Clyde start. Clyde's going to take you through just a look at the junior high related fee schedules.
Okay, board, on the junior high related fee schedule, we also added a max that a student would pay per year, and that's $1,800, and that's if a student did every multiple participated in multiple teams, multiple clubs, multiple things that they would have to do to cap out at $1,800. And we do have some students that would reach that. Then we also added an elementary preschool elementary piece, and because we didn't have that on the last one. And what we recognize in the elementary, there's a lot of clubs and activities after school. That is a small fee for that, and so we wanted to put that on this fee schedule as well for to have that there for parents and students to see for those costs. You know, one of them is a PAL camp. You got the math, STEM, coding, summer reading, orchestra, drama, the arts is on there. Reading after school reading clubs, running clubs, and robotics are the clubs that we recognize that was offered after school in the elementary schools, which is great programs. If you skip over to the junior high piece, we're going to go to the junior high one, extracurricular one, junior high. Okay, these are the team sports and cheer and those type of things that we're talking about now. The cap on this one was set at $2,000 per student for extracurricular activities and participation. And again, a student will have to participate in multiple teams or clubs and things of that nature to reach that 2,000 max. We also created a spend plan, and on the spend plan, there always have been and always will be some out-of-pocket for the student, such as participation fee to participate on these clubs and teams. For the activities and clubs and sport teams, you need a physical. And so what we decided there is that's 100% paid for by the student and parent. Also transportation. And so our goal is to create this spend plan and give that back to the schools, and then through that, the coaches and advisor will decide what percentage will be paid out of fundraising. If you notice on the top one, baseball, we did an example of that would be an off-campus clinic or camp that could go up to $300. 50% of that would be paid through the fundraising effort, and then the rest would be paid by the player or the parent. Okay, so that's one example of one change we made to the schedule.
Great, and of course, we need to reemphasize that we have so many opportunities for our kids. We're really proud. That's one thing I learned. I knew there were a lot of great things going on for our students, but so much going on that they can participate in and find their niche. And we wanted to make sure, as we put these schedules together, that we weren't taking away opportunities, meaning hamstringing, so to speak, our programs, our advisors, so that they still could afford to put a great program in front of kids. And then we wanted, obviously, to be completely transparent with our parents and our public, to show them, here's exactly what it is requiring us to run this great program. Of course, we're going to be open to some feedback. We're not going to first reading until next month, and so we will be tweaking some things. I just wanted to show you the high school fee schedule. I'll make this quick because it is pretty dense, but again, we broke it down in the same way. We put a $3,500 cap on our high school in-school or curricular related fees, and as you heard from the Weber State students, that's still a bargain because they're getting concurrent enrollment classes and all sorts of things for really low tuition costs related to that. If you'll just scroll through that, Carrie, a little bit. You've got a few fees at the high school that legally we can't waive, and we wanted to designate those and so forth. So you can take a look and go through that pretty dense document, and if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. Lastly, I just wanted to show you the fourth and final fee schedule, which has to do with all of our Utah High School sanctioned activities. As you know, we've added girls and boys lacrosse this year, and girls wrestling is going to be new for 2021. And so we've broken down all of those different programs and into the details. Now, when Clyde says a spend plan, one of the requirements of the law says that we have to put an exact description by each fee category that lets folks know what is that money going to go towards. And I feel like we've done a really nice job of fleshing those things out. We've got a lot of input there. But if you'll scroll down, Carrie, to the cheer, I wanted to show you an example of a group that travels. You first look at that total under cheer, and you know it's a little boggling, $3,240. That would be the maximum amount a cheerleader would have to come up with if they were going to travel. Our cheerleaders travel every other year. Over on the right of that, though, we put what the amount would be in a non-travel year to differentiate between those two. But what we're going to probably see is our advisors that have been taking groups on trips out of state. We might be looking at, instead of an every other year type of thing, we might be looking at it once every 3 year type of a travel schedule. We'll just have to see how that process goes. But of course, we don't want to restrict opportunities. So I will leave you with that. There's plenty of light reading there that you will have at your disposal. Is there any questions you have for us in the meantime? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Nice job.
I would just ask one more time if we have any public comment in this open meeting, that we make sure we have it on the record. If there is nobody here, nobody on the sign-up card. All right. Did we miss somebody that may have slept in? I want to make sure we're really transparent. We don't miss that. So, all righty. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gina, and your team, and Clyde. Recognitions. Let's move on to I Love Teaching, and Gina and Clyde again, please.
I apologize, Board. You're going to hear more from me than you'd like to tonight, but this is the fun part. I'm super excited about this piece of the program. We are getting to honor tonight one of our very best, and I'm going to ask him to come up. This is Jeff Moore. Mr. Jeff Moore, he's a Roy Junior High teacher for us, and he's getting the I Love Teaching Award. We got the elbow thing going on right now. Doesn't he? You look sharp. You look very sharp. Anyway, I want to tell you a little bit about this great guy. I slipped into the back of his 7th period junior high computer science class. Now imagine, after lunch, junior high, and this guy was teaching like he had just arrived at school and was full of energy and pep. I sat there in amazement while I watched him try to corral these kids that kind of were a little bit loopy from lunch, and he did a superb job. And I got to talk to some students about him. We're going to bring his great principal, Rich Murray, up here in just a minute, who will speak to him as well. But you've heard the old adage. It goes like this: more is not always better. Well, I'm going to challenge that tonight. This more is always better. He's always better. You see, I caught him on a day that he was wearing pretty much his moniker. Be kind. That's who this guy is. And I thought that was very ironic that he was wearing that t-shirt. He teaches computer science business, teaching as a profession, and student government. Here he is getting ready, it looks like, to take his kids down to the Capitol for the recent Educators Rising event that was held down there. And I don't know that I talked to a student about Mr. Moore that they didn't just rave about him and want to be on camera. They wanted to say things about Mr. Moore. Here's a few pictures of his Educator Rising kids. When I first told Mr. Moore the reason I was in his classroom, he said this. Not maybe right off the bat, but he said this: I was 39 years old when I became a teacher. I worked in human resources and dabbled. It is certainly not lost on my parents that I am a teacher. I was not a good student. And then he said, I seek out those kids who seem to be on the fast track to dropping out, and I really try hard to inspire them to keep going. And I watched him interact with a lot of students in this kind of a way, and as I said, in his class, bringing kind of the learning to them personally and in a very validating way. A sign in his room is, be nice and listen. And I saw that played out in everything that he did. Rich, why don't you come on up? This is Mr. Murray, his great principal, who nominated him, and Rich is going to just say a few words about Jeff.
I could go on all night about Jeff and what he brings to Roy Jr., and I think in every school I've been at, there's the one person that just brings it every day. And Jeff is that guy. I mean, he brings it, and what I appreciate most about him, especially being a new principal, is that I can get the heartbeat of the school through Jeff. I can ask him if I have an idea, what he thinks about it, and I know he's going to be honest with me. And every day when this guy shows up, he's got a smile on his face. Every day. I mean, Christy and I, when we have something that we need to work on, that we need to talk to, he brings it every day. And that's what I appreciate about and just respect about Jeff. Thank you.
Rich wrote a glowing letter, and I just highlighted a few of the terms he used to describe Jeff. Superstar teacher, backbone of Roy Jr., everything good, support and guidance, insight, advice, willingness to do what it takes, and then what Rich just spoke to about his attitude, how that just permeates the building. When I sat in his class, and I won't go through all of these, but I can tell you for sure that every single one of those things was so easy in terms of teaching expertise to see in his approach with kids in the short time that I was with him. And those qualities right there, I believe, basically describe one of our very best teachers, best educators around. They empathize with their kids. They call kids by name. They hold kids accountable to their learning. And Jeff does that in a very friendly, supportive way. His lesson was interactive. His knowledge of his subject matter was expert. And every kid that strolled through the door went right up and made sure that Mr. Moore saw that they were there. They wanted his validation. They wanted him to see them and say hello. So I would say that the 4 things that I walked away from watching Jeff teach for that period: positivity, humor, connectedness, and relatability. And I want to focus just really quickly on the connectedness. That is no easy thing to connect with every kid in your class. That takes effort, that takes time, that takes intention. And he displays that like a rock star. Rod Belknap. Rod is sitting in the back as CTE director, but Rod, I thought, emphasized what I just talked about. He said that putting kids first is not only something that students feel, but it is something that is part of his culture in his classroom. He has grown his classes in the teaching pathway and brought his students to the Educators Rising event this year. Above all else, Jeff believes in kids, and he is a person that students trust. These 2 lovely ladies, I always go to the ladies in the office because they know what's going on. They got a finger on the pulse of the school. And they jumped up from behind their desk and just leaned over the counter, and they just were throwing things at me. I could hardly keep up in my note-taking. But I picked out just a couple of things that they said. They called him the glue guy. They said that Mr. Moore holds everything together. He holds our school together. If we don't know the answer to a question, we call him. And then one of them talked about how she just had a recent surgery and how Jeff and his wife visited her at home and how much that meant to her. He goes the extra mile for people that he works with and cares about. He also keeps the entire school in the loop with these RAS texts. And I think it's Razor Vision, something like that, that they use in their school to communicate. And it sounds like Jeff heads that up as well. I would like to play this little video. This is Lexus, who just wanted to rave forever about Mr. Moore, but I think she has some poignant things to say.
I would like to congratulate Mr. Moore on the Idol of Teaching Awards. It couldn't have happened to another amazing teacher. He has always been there for me since 7th grade. This year, especially since I lost my grandpa, he was very supportive and he helped me out through everything. Not only that, but he is an amazing teacher when it comes to the student gov. He really knows how to pull everyone together and get everyone's attention. He truly, really does love teaching, and I want to learn from him and try and be more like him.
Nice. That's a pretty big compliment. She wants to be just like him. Christy Haas. I thought I'd grab Christy. Christy's been a mainstay at the school for a few years, and I won't read everything that she said there, but she just said that he has a knack of getting a lot of things done and making it look easy, and that he's able to build relationships with the very toughest kids in the school. She said it's not uncommon for him to come down to the office and ask about a student and call a parent and say, I want to support your student. Help me, what do I need to understand about your student so that I can better support them? He just goes the extra mile, and I love what Christy said there. It's almost magical how he builds relationships. He is the type of teacher that students will remember 20 years from now. These 4 are just so great. I'll let them speak for themselves.
Braxton, and I think Mr. Moore is a great teacher because he's always involved around the school, participating in everything that he can. A lot of teachers trust him because he has lots of experience, and they just know he can always trust him, and that's why I appreciate Mr. Moore in our school.
Mr. Moore is very essential to our school. He spends countless hours here doing anything he can to help the students and help the school be better. One of the awesome things he does is make vinyl to go on our lockers to show all of the great things we're participated in.
I'm Morgan, and one thing I love about Mr. Moore is he's so supportive of me and of all the things that I do. I'm a very busy person, and he understands that, and he knows that.
My name is Gavin, and it's kind of hard to put words to how amazing Mr. Moore is. He's, even just not on a professional level, you know he's always going to be there. He's a really great friend to all of the students, all the teachers around him, the administration, and he's really essential to Roy Junior High.
Gavin's going to be a politician or something. He's impressive, isn't he? I asked him his age after. I said, "Are you sure you're not a senior?" But he was. They're just cute kids that couldn't wait to rave about him. These are the vinyl sticker things that the young lady was alluding to. But if you walk the halls of Roy Junior, sounds like this was your brainchild. Yeah, you
I still do it every summer. Yeah.
That's okay. But what a great idea to recognize students in that way, kind of what they're involved in, those niches that they're filling in their school. So more is always better in my mind. More is always better, and he doesn't like that picture, as he's saying, but we just would like to congratulate Jeff on winning being awarded, not winning, being awarded the I Love Teaching Award for this month. Congratulations. And we'd love you to introduce your family, who you brought with you.
I brought my wife Stephanie, my daughter Megan, and she has my second grandchild eating on her lap. This is my daughter Madeline, my mother and my father, who know my experiences in school were always great. My son Hunter is on the end, his girlfriend Jenny, and that's my granddaughter Sharon.
Let's give him a hand.
I've told everybody you're my Clyde, why don't you come in? Sure.
You look like you're just behind it.
Yeah, sure enough.
Fun. Good stuff right there, huh? Thank you. Our next item would be recognition will be our E+ Team Award. Tammy Alexander and Dave Hills, please.
Actually, you're just stuck with me tonight. I've kept Mr. Hills a little busy lately. So, I am so excited to present the E+ Team Award to, I think, maybe kindred sisters. Right? Yeah. Susan Childress, who's the head secretary, and Monica Morby, who is the officer at Hooper Elementary School. Come on up, ladies. Hooper's a favorite place of mine to visit, mostly because of these two, but many other reasons. I don't know if they play as hard as they work or if they work as hard as they play, but they get it done, and they're fun. So I want to just introduce them. They are friends, like they've become dear, dear friends, as well as colleagues, which is so great, and it shows in everything they do. When I was reading through Principal Breeding's mail, do you want to come on? Come on, come on. This is Carrie Breeding. She's brand new principal at Hooper Elementary. And amazing. And I loved her opening paragraphs when she explained why she was nominating these women. Countless hours of service in order to ensure the well-being of all students, teachers, and staff at Hooper Elementary. That's a wow. That's a big wow. Then she went on. It was quite a lengthy letter. And she is right. They have the most inviting personalities. There is no one that walks in that school that doesn't feel like they're the person of the year, because these ladies treat them that way. Ladies, the reputation you have of integrity, exceptional work, great work ethic, and kind hearts, everybody I talked to said very similar things. Calming presence during high pressure moments. That's so awesome to have in a front office, because I don't know how many of you are familiar with elementary front offices. They're crazy. These ladies are the nurses, the moms, the river keepers, the phone call makers, the I stub my big toe people. They're the ice getters. They do it all. I can't tell you enough how important the job of an elementary office aide and secretary are. Critical to what we do every day. I love this kid. I don't remember his name, but I went up to this kid that was up there, and he was getting an ice pack. Dave, you'll like this. He had been shooting, and his shoulder was sore. So these lovely ladies got 100 shots, 100 shots. That's even more, I think, than you. So anyway, so his shoulder was a little sore. And when I got there, he was sitting there with an ice pack on his shoulder, and he thought he was done. He was going back to class, and I said, "Hey, dude, do you like these ladies?" He goes, "Yeah, I do, but they're kind of silly." I just thought that was the best ever. And you can kind of tell that they enjoy work, which is lovely. And so to that I said, "You think?" And quite honestly, I didn't know you did vacuuming as well.
We do it all.
I'm pretty sure that was for Dave, not Carrie, but that's okay. This is just a quick example of how fun they are as they work together. You want to hit play on that? Fan of Hocus Pocus, you probably should be, because I didn't, when I first looked at that, I didn't know it was you. And she said there were people at school that didn't know that was her. And then look at Monica. She's even got that weird little face thing that the lady, yeah, you still do it? That's awesome. They are fun and a little silly, and I like them. Your colleagues have lots of good things to say about you. I thought that first one, that was from you. Was that from you? Yeah. two of the nicest women you will ever know. That's great. So there for you. Emphasis on the so, the best, very welcoming, on the ball. And I was talking to their kind librarian who said, you know, they go above and beyond every day to help teachers, almost too much, because teachers' needs become an emergency for them, and they follow through and get it done every time. And they really are the best. I just love them. So this little cute guy, I thought I was recording him, but I actually was just taking a picture of him. And I wish I had him recorded. He was adorable and apparently frequents the office for lots of varied things. He has lots of different needs. Darling, darling Blake. And he was happy to talk to me. He couldn't stand still while he was talking to me because he was really super excited, and they had Alaskan Huskies in the classroom. But he said, those office ladies? I love those ladies. And then I said, why? And he told me all about what they do for him. And then I had an opportunity, Carrie took me into a classroom, and I got to talk to Riley. And she was a little shy, but her friend's going to follow up in just a minute. So here's Riley.
They always help us when we're hurt.
Oh, that's sweet. Anything else they do?
When our mom and dad comes and checks us out, she always lets us go.
Sorry, I just snorted. God bless those ladies for letting us go with their parents go. So I'm talking to Riley, and I'm keeping a straight face because you let them go. We don't have prisons. But then there's this cute little girl in the back, and she's just, I want to be next. And she loves him too. So next we have Taysen. And she wanted to keep going, but I had to stop. So here's what Taysen had to say.
Hi, Taysen. What do you want to tell me?
Well, the office is a good place because when you're hurt, they can help you out, and when you need something, like if you have to take medicine, you can go up and they'll let you take it. And also, they are very kind. And they help when you are hurt or sick.
Perfect.
She wanted to go on, she really did, didn't she, Carrie? This is just a tiny, tiny bit of happiness that are Susan and Monica. They truly are amazing. One of the things that I heard time and time and time and time again is that, above all, what impresses people the most is the way you treat students, how good you are to them. So thank you for being amazing, for loving kids, and for having fun while you're doing it, and for letting them go when their parents come together. Can we give a round of applause to these ladies? They didn't really want to talk, but I told them they got to introduce the people who were with them. You coming with me? So Monica, this one's for you. Susan? So, would you just take a minute and introduce who's... Raise your hand if you're here in support of Hooper Elementary. Boom. Yep, that's how cool they are.
So I have my husband Rick here, and my daughter Katie, and amazing friends out there, it looks like. Thank you. I want to thank Carrie for the kind words and acknowledgement, and for the amazing, great leadership. Bringing it to Hooper. Yep,
You're the heart of the school.
I brought my husband Glenn with me, who is the guy that gets the short end of the stick, usually most of the time, because I've used up all my smiles and positive attitude at school. Sometimes he gets the worst of it. But it truly is great where we work. We have a great administrator, thanks so much for those kind words, great teachers and faculty and staff, and a great community, so it's easy to do what we do because they're so awesome. So thanks.
Thank you.
You're doing this. You're on like have insurance.
Sometimes.
Let's go. Let's go. Just
Nicely done. Nicely done.
So our next presentation would be of Vex Robots. Sherry Hyder, I'm going to turn the time to you. But if you would like, some of the audience who would like to see this, you're welcome to stand or slide a little closer when it's appropriate. Please, Sherry.
Absolutely. Thank you, Superintendent and Board. We are going to keep the fun rolling tonight. We not only have great teachers joining us, but amazing kiddos as well. So, and robots. What could be better? It's amazing. We wanted to talk to you just really quickly as Jennifer Davis joins us, if you would. Absolutely. A little bit about Vex Robotics in our district. This is an amazing program. They are excited, right? For our students and our teachers as well, and parents to get involved in as well. But really, the idea behind Vex is building leaders in STEM. So getting kids excited about problem solving and critical thinking, being innovators. And that's what Vex does. They do it all through really engaging hands-on STEM activities. We are super fortunate. This is not a paid position. This is all volunteer, and boy, I'll tell you what, Jennifer Davis has put hundreds of hours into this project for kids and for parents, and it has been amazing. She is one of our fantastic 6th grade teachers at Kingsville Elementary, and I believe her principal, Justin Willie, is here to support her as well. We appreciate you coming. This year at the state Vex competition, Jennifer was awarded 2 really impressive honors. First, she was awarded the, look at this, she's even brought him, Elementary Event Partner of the Year. This is her 2nd time winning this in the entire state. Second, Middle School Coach of the Year as well. So absolutely a phenomenal thing. I love that picture, so cute. At the 2020 State Vex competition, can you believe this? 27 of the 54 teams, so half of them were from Weber School District. We were represented very well by 7 elementary schools and 2 junior highs. And here is one of the coolest parts of it all. 8 of our teams qualified to go to the National Worlds. So we have 2 teams coming from Kingsville, 2 from Green Acres, Snowcrest, Rocky Mountain, and North all have 1. And then Jen's all-girls team. Is that amazing? You might notice that one of those young ladies looks a lot like Jen. Ah, it's her daughter. So we would like to recognize Jen. She puts in a lot of hours for no additional pay. We want to tell you thank you for caring about our kids and for furthering these opportunities in STEM. I know you've had lots of support from Maggie, and we just have a couple of little gifts for you just to tell you thank you and recognize how much you do to support our kiddos. We can keep this over here. How's that? Okay. And we would like to turn the time over to Jen Davis, Superintendent Board.
All right, I appreciate the opportunity to this. So I was asked to kind of just explain how the program works. This is my 5th season of elementary and my 2nd season with junior high kids. These 2 girls, after going to Worlds, 3 years ago, came to me and said, we can't just stop. The junior high's not doing it. Will you continue coaching us? So I just set up a nonprofit corporation and I run a few junior high teams as well. So we start the program in May with the teams for the next year, and we start with engineering design notebooks. So I don't know if you want to look at them. These are the 3 that my 3 teams that are going to Worlds. So before they even get to play, they have to design their robot. So we go through what the challenge is, and then they design it, and then they get a kit full of equipment. Can you just kind of hold up the kit? And then they get to build it. I know there's a lot of teams that start with a step-by-step robot, and I found that they do really well when they just get to explore and do it on their own. Then there's also a STEM research project, which is how 2 of these teams have qualified for Worlds. It's basically like a science fair project, but they have a different theme every year. So this year the theme was science, and in particular data analysis using robotics. Then they get to program their robots. So we're going to take you through, instead of making a slideshow, I brought live demonstrations. So, where's Christine? If you will run the timer for me. At a competition, the first thing, they submit a video, a 4-minute video of their STEM research project a week before, so that doesn't really happen at a competition. When they arrive, they submit their notebooks for the judges, and then we start teamwork matches. So each team gets paired up with 8 other teams randomly through the program, and so we're going to just run a teamwork match. They have 1 minute to score as many points as they can.
If anybody wants to come and just have a look, you're welcome to. These are fun to watch.
You have 30 seconds for each rider. Okay, so the object here is they need to get the green cubes up onto the 3 green platforms. That's 20 points for each one of them. They need to get the blue cubes over in the blue squares and the red over the red squares. That's 10 points for each. They need to get as many balls as they can inside the cube for 1 point each, or on top of the cubes for 2 points each. Okay, are we ready? Ready? 2, 1. is they have to switch drivers. They have to switch between 35 seconds and 25 seconds as it counts down. If they do not switch in that time, they are disqualified. And that's the end. So they would get 20 points for each of these green cubes for 40. This is touching the robot, so it doesn't count, but the blue one is in, so that's another 10 points, so they scored 50 points, right? Okay.
Is that a regulation? Is that a set regulation time?
Yes. The field stays the same every, this base stays the same every year. The challenge, the stuff that goes on top of it, changes every year. And this is, it competes for, yeah, they compete on for a whole season. All right, great. Will you reset, please? So all three of these teams have won the design award before. This one, okay, I'm gonna hold up on that one. And this, no, the other one for just a second, thanks. This is one of the trophies that they got at state for the STEM research project, which all three of them have amazing projects. While they're resetting, I'll talk some of the benefits to this program. I think number one is that they learn to work as a team. This is very much a team program, and they rely on each other. They each, the way I read it is they each have a responsibility that they're in charge of to make sure it happens. We have one that's in charge of the notebook, one that's in charge of STEM, one that's in charge of building, and then one that is in charge of programming. So another part of the competition is they have 3 skills runs where they do the same thing that these two just did alone to get as many points as they can. And then they have 3 skills runs where they have programmed the robot to do it themselves. So Emma, will you come and show them your your computer first? So they, like, I myself could not run this program. Like, I don't know, this is 100% a kid-run program, and they are very strict about that from RACF, the Robotics Foundation. So this is about, did you say, a third of the program that she's written. There are a few different programs that they can use. This is the blocks, right? So this is the newest program that they've come out with. So they run the robot all by themselves, but we thought just to be kind of fun tonight, we're going to run 2 autonomous at the same time. So Sarah. This is also, they get 1 minute to run it. We're not going to time them, we're just going to let them show you what they can do. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And it doesn't always work as planned with the boards, different ground underneath the boards. In fact, last year they said even if the air conditioning is on in the building, it messes with their program. So it's a very delicate program. All right, good job, thank you. So this team right here also won the Excellence Award. The Excellence Award is the highest honor you can receive in robotics, and it takes into account the notebook, the interview. They all have to be interviewed by the judges, and I think that's a great opportunity for them because they learn to explain themselves. They learn to speak with adults and share their ideas. So, what did I say? It takes in their scores on the teamwork competition as well as their skills scores and any other judged awards. There's a few other awards that are optional to be given out. I forgot to say event partner, so the one I've got for 2 years. I noticed the sign out there said chaos coordinator on the desk. That's probably what it should be if you've ever been to a competition. Because the kids are going everywhere for all their different parts of this, and it just works. It's really fun to watch. There's a lot of energy. The event partner is the one that runs the competition. Emily's been with me for 4 years now, right? And so I've asked her if she could just tell you what an impact this has had on her life.
So it's helped me work together with my teammates. It's helped me communicate with them a lot better, and it's also made me want to go into robotic engineering. Every day I usually like an hour and a half just on Vex, and we practice 1 day a week unless we're coming up to a competition and feel like we need more time. And then we can practice double, and then we do twice a week.
So this is my junior high team where they spend a lot more time. Elementary, we meet once a week for a little over an hour, and then before competitions, we'll add in a few days extra to get them ready. Or if they need to, they're also welcome. I have a field in my classroom and all the equipment right in my classroom, and they're welcome during any recess to come in and practice, and they do a lot. This team has worked together a lot too outside of the classroom. It also, I like that we can take any ability. I don't need to look at their grades. You know, I do try to look at their behavior based on their teacher's recommendation because they have to be able to work independently and with their team. But we've had kids who are like in resource that are extremely successful with this. And they talk to as a team and decide what their strengths are, and they become a really strong team by building on their strengths. Someone who's really good at programming or building things, they can see it. You know, they just get to build on their strengths, and I love watching what they do, and that's why I keep doing it. Do you have any questions for me or them? Thank you for your time. Oh, yes.
I think it would be hard to come up with a cool name. You guys didn't see these names, but it was the famed 4 Girls of Steel and the Flying Flamingo.
Yes, that can be one of the most difficult parts of this competition. Girls of Steel, that are their initials. Shaylee, Tatum, Emily, Emma, and their friend Lily had to back out, so they named their robot Lily for Girls of Steel. Yes. Lily's also been with me 3 years. Shaylee? Oh, 5 years. Yeah. 4, yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for your time. We also have amazing parents who volunteer their time to help out. It couldn't happen without them.
That's very cool. Thanks for being back again. I'd love to see him again. Paul, did that work the way it's supposed to? Whoa. Thank you so much. Be safe going home. Board, our next item will be an action item. Approval of revised policy 4700. Plan for college and career readiness on the first reading. Carla Porter, please.
Okay, that was impressive. This isn't going to be as exciting as that. Maybe I should have brought some robots or something. So, Policy 4700, Superintendent and Board, our Student Education Occupational Plan has been in place in our district since 2003. But since that time, there have been many, many changes that are not reflected in our policy. So what was once known as our SEOP, which is that Student Education Occupational Plan, with our school counselors, principals, with our parents, our students, is now referred to as Planning for College and Career Readiness Conference, which you know we love acronyms, which is PCCRC. So in alignment with state policy, secondary counselors in our district are required to meet with students and parents for an individual meeting at least once during the junior high years and twice in the high school years. So the name, along with these additional requirements, have been included in our updated policy. So in an effort to ensure compliance with current law and board rule, we are introducing a revised policy 4700 for your approval on a first reading.
Board, you've heard Mrs. Porter's presentation on the revised policy on the first reading of 4700 Plan for Career and College Readiness. I entertain a motion to accept. So moved by Paul, second by Jen. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate it. Sure.
Like it shows that we have 2 in the junior high and 2
At
in
least 1 in the junior high, which is going to be in 8th grade.
but we also have a small group size
Yeah, we have
in
small.
7 or 9,
Right.
so we actually have 2.
Well, yes, but 1 that is required to be just with the parents.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Does that work? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Carter. So second reading next month. Next item would be approval of new policy 7135, Weaver School District LEA specific teacher licensing on a first reading as well. Mr. Larry Hadley, please.
Good evening, Board of Superintendent. I appreciate it. On this presentation prior, I want to let you know that my wife is the new instructor of the robotics club at Silver Ridge. And it just started this year, and so I got to participate, and I got beat every time. So I resorted to cheating, and I still lost. I'd also like to say, and then this is probably out of protocol, but Mr. Oborn, or Vice President Oborn, was my biology teacher, and on more than one occasion, he told me, Hadley, it's time to settle in. So, I only have one item with 47 parts. Mr. Oborn, it's time to settle in. I've waited 32 years to say that. Board, I've got a policy 7130. It's a brand new policy, and I want you to give you a little background on that. We've been working with the state on some new licensing. All teacher licensing that we are currently aware of, level 1, 2, 3, ARL, APT, student teaching, is going to go away July 1. And it's going to be replaced with 3 different licenses. One is called an LEA license, an associate license, and a professional license. The biggest part of these licenses is, as a district, we will be tracking our own people in these licensing pathways. What we want to talk about tonight is, as we work through the state, the LEA license is board approved. Therefore, we had to write a policy to present to you to be board approved for us as a district to issue not only an LEA license, but an LEA endorsement. So I want you to know, as a district, we've got the numbers. There's 132 teachers we have currently that are on called a letter of authorization. Letter of authorizations will be going away. Therefore, we will have to create a plan for all 132. Now, 48 of the 132 are licenses. 82 of them are endorsements. So we will work with that as we get this policy approved. So that's where we'll start. But from now, what it is two-pronged approach. Those we have currently teaching for us that'll need a change, and those that we hire that are not on an associate or a professional license. So what I present tonight is the policy 7135, and it states, due to the USBE licensing changes listed through Utah Board Rules R277-301 through 308, LEAs must create a board policy governing LEA-specific licensing and endorsements. The purpose of this policy is to identify Weber School District LEA-specific licensing endorsement requirements pursuant to the conditions outlined by the Utah State Board of Education. Weber School District's policy is to create a WSD LEA-specific license and/or endorsement, allowing those applicants to work as a licensed educator in the Weber School District pursuant to the procedures outlined in the policy. Before I move forward, is there any questions I can answer? The timeline is July 1. Yeah. Well, I ask the board to receive this on the first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Hadley. Board, you've heard the presentation and somewhat explanation. Hopefully it's clear as mud on the approval of new policy 7135 on specific teacher licensing on the first reading. I'd entertain a motion to accept. Paul? Second. By Dean. Any discussion?
Can I say something on this? This is a role that historically has been played by the State Office of Education, and they're stepping away from that role. The vast majority of our teachers will come out of a traditional teacher preparation program with a license. But periodically, and sometimes in certain areas more than others, we'll have someone that we know would be a great teacher, but doesn't have that endorsement or license. We don't want to turn them away because they have, Larry talked about 130?
132.
That are in that out of 1,800 teachers. So again, it's a small portion. Now the shift is that the school district will be responsible for putting together the requirements that person would need to go through in order to get an LEA-specific license or endorsement. Some districts are saying, we're not going to do that. If they don't have a license or an endorsement from a traditional teacher preparation program, we don't want them. I think that's a little short-sighted because we have teachers that have come through those alternative routes that are tremendous teachers for us. They're just coming through a different route, right? So now instead of turning that to the state office to determine what classes or what experiences they need to have in order to get their endorsement or license, that'll fall under Larry, and we anticipate that all the departments are going to get involved, right? Curriculum will get involved. If we've got someone that shows promise in mathematics but needs a level 4 endorsement, right? You know, there's nobody better than to get Sherry involved in it. Or if we've got somebody that's in science, I saw Maggie think about CTE, and not only Dr. Belknap, but our coordinators in CTE that have very, hands-on experience in different areas. So that's the idea of this, that this shifts now those that are coming through an alternative route, needing a license or an endorsement, shifting it from the state office to the local school district.
Any minimums or structure, any suggestions or guidelines? Totally up to us.
We have the structure in the policy. Yeah, the requirements are listed inside the policy.
What's the difference between a license and an endorsement? Say license or endorsement?
Yeah, license and endorsement. A license is actually the license to teach in the area you've got your major in or your minor in. An endorsement is somebody that's not qualified to teach. I might have a chemistry license, but I want a mathematics endorsement. So that way I can teach math and science.
Everybody needs a license to teach, but then there are specific endorsements. I have a level 1 and a level 2 reading endorsement in addition to my license to teach, right? There are gifted and talented endorsements, elementary math endorsements, STEM endorsement. So there's a number of endorsements that might be compared, this is a rough analogy, to a minor in college. That you have an area of emphasis, your major, but this allows you to have some in-depth training in a specific area, and that block of training would lead toward an endorsement. Yeah.
And we have a committee of people that look at all of those things and make that decision?
Yes, and Dean, that committee will be flexible in its makeup based upon the applicant and what the applicant is seeking. What type of is it a CTE? Then we're going to certainly involve Rod and the appropriate coordinators. It is a special education, and we're going to get Quinn and Jennifer Warren involved. And see what I'm saying? So we feel like we can tailor this, personalize it, and still retain a very high standard for anybody who's coming through that, what has been called an alternative route to licensure.
Is the state still requiring the praxis?
Okay, so the PLT is going away, but the content praxis is still there. Yeah. And so the new test, Jan, is the PPAT, which will be a piece to the professional license. So this is an LEA license through the board, and then as we move through associate to professional, we will track that as well, and then we'll provide our own plan to professional.
Regular pay scale.
Regular pay scale. We discussed that.
And there's a period of time, Doug. It's a great question. And we've always had that. Larry talked about a letter of authorization. So what happened previously is a teacher who wanted to come through that alternative route, they would meet with a subject specialist at the State Office of Education, and a course of study, so to speak, would be outlined, and they'd give them, let's say, 3 years to complete that. And in the interim, they'd be given a letter of authorization, authorizing them to teach during that interim period. But during that time, they're on a regular teacher salary schedule. They've just got a period of time to complete that course of study. Some of the terminology will change in that process, but the concepts are still the same.
That's exactly right. An LEA specific license is good for 3 years, and you can petition for year 4 and 5 until we roll you to an associate license. So, any other questions?
It's a plus for WSB.
It's a good thing. We'll make it work. Yep.
I just, because of what's out there. Jennifer, you agree on the state level, correct? All right, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. We'll see you next month.
Thank you very much.
Rehash it. Thank you. Board, we've come to the end of our agenda, and I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Jan, second. By Dean. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, staff, Claire, and everybody for getting the board ready. Be safe going home, and we'll see you in a month.
Wait, what?